the Legal Corner podcast series. Welcome to today's episode of The Legal Corner, a podcast which covers a variety of legal issues to keep you informed. Hosted by attorney at law Colin Dinoon and communications specialist Leonardo Torres.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Legal Corner podcast series. I am your host, Colin Dinoon, attorney at law, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Leonardo Torres, who is our resident communication specialist. Good day to you, Leonardo.
Good day to you, Colin. How are you doing today?
I am good and very happy to be here once again for another episode. How about you?
Pretty good as well. Very busy day today. I see we're on to number 10.
Well, we are racking up those episodes and our audience just keeps growing. So I'm very happy about that.
Yes, lovely.
So in today's episode, we will be looking at the importance of financial planning. Finances play an important part in our lives, irrespective of whether we are students, employed, or entrepreneurs. We all have dreams and desires which we would like to achieve in the future, but these come at a cost. A financial plan is therefore an important tool in getting us from where we are to where we need to be. Joining us on the show today to provide some insight on this topic is Mr. Isaac Shadrack. Mr. Shadrack is a small business owner and insurance agent who is attached to a major financial firm offering services such as savings plans, insurance, mutual funds, and company packages. He also has over 30 years of experience working in the oil and gas sector. Mr. Shadrack lectures on various topics in the areas of people development and is highly qualified in the areas of business development and marketing. Welcome to the Legal Corner, Mr. Shadrack.
Thank you, Mr. Colin, for the opportunity. And indeed, I want to bring greetings. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to just share some knowledge with finances and business. Thank you, gentlemen.
Right. Now we're going to get right into it. And I want you to tell us, what is a financial plan?
Okay, so first area that we want to deal with in reality is, what is a financial plan? Financial plan is a comprehensive overview of your financial goals and the steps you need to take to achieve them. It's a snapshot, a screenshot of basically, your total financial position. Now, financial plans are usually a physical document. Sometimes, we have it in the back of our mind, but it should really be written out. One of the things we say in the financial world, if you think it, ink it. And that means you write it down. So the financial plan is usually a physical document to ensure that it is concrete and final. Many people combine their financial plans with an investment plan, as investing is often part of what that will help us to save for the future. Now, other important aspects of a financial plan will include estate plan, college savings plan, retirement plan. All of these will all be included in your overall financial plan. So I hope, gentlemen, that could add some value to us this evening.
Excellent. Now, when is a good time, or what is a good time span for a financial plan? Should it be a 10-year plan, 20 years, 25 years?
In my opinion, what is a good span or a good time span? I will want to put this into two categories. Long-term plan should be at least 10 years or more projection. If you want to really have a financial plan, particularly if you're married, and even if you're single, particularly if you're married, you want to have a minimum of a 10 years stretch in terms of what are we going to accomplish for the next 10 years hereabout. So you should have a long-term, and then, of course, you should also have a short-term plan which will be what we call the baby steps. So you break the long term into smaller segments that will give you 1 to 5 years projections. For example, if you purchase a vehicle, you expect to pay it off maybe in 3 years or so. So that will fall within your short term, as opposed to maybe going after a mortgage that might be 10 or more years, which will be a long term plan.
Okay, thank you for that information. Can you speak a bit about the difference between saving and investment?
A great question indeed with regards to savings and investment. Let me use a template that I normally would use to give us an idea of where people are in terms of financial decisions. One, you have what is called an employee. An employee is basically someone who have a job. Then you have those persons who will want to own their own job and they are self-employed. We also have business owners. Business owners are people that own a system that makes money for them. This is what we get into what is known as franchising. And then, of course, investments or investors is where they will own an investment. So you have the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor. That's an easy way to kind of put it. Now, each one of these quadrants really go after a particular goal. An employee basically goes after security. I have a secure job. And therefore, because I know I have a certain amount of salary that's coming in, I can then predict or forecast where I'm going to be. So the employee goes after security. A self-employed person is more going after independence. They really don't want to report to a boss. They can choose whenever they want to work and open and so on like that. So if you're selling doubles, for example, and one day you decide you don't want to go, well, fine. You are independent. The business owner goes after wealth building, and the investor goes after financial freedom. So the purposes are all guaranteed into different roles. Now, the savings is really something that you will put away so that you can have use for another day. But in reality, savings does not bring much returns. An investment, on the other hand, is where you will invest into an asset or you will invest into some sort of business that will become a money machine to you that can bring returns back to you. I always have a saying that there is no way that you can save yourself to wealth. You need to invest yourself to wealth. So that's a big factor in the difference, because really what you're really trying to do is that you're looking as an investment, you're looking for things that will put money in your pocket, as opposed to things that will take money away from your pocket. And sometimes, even with a lot of savings plans in many financial institutions here in Trinidad, you find that even the interest rate on the savings plan are very minimal, and the charges that might be there might even erode quite a lot of what the savings interests are. Gentlemen?
All right. Now, so the following questions here, we will deal with both savings and investments, right? Now, it is important to understand the difference, as you would have highlighted. And some persons opt to save versus some persons opt to invest. Now, speaking to those two category of persons, how would you say is a good amount for someone they should commit from their monthly income to savings or investing?
Leonardo, one of the interesting things in Trinidad is that we do not have a culture of investing. We really don't, any culture of Trinidad in terms of business, we really don't train our people much in investing. Normally, you'll always hear about save for the rainy day. So how much then, on a monthly income, and even if you're working weekly or daily, you can still tally back your monthly income. I would recommend a minimum of 5% of your net, 5% of your net to be able to start off with. If you want to look at how you'll go into investment, in my opinion, you should possibly take look at that savings, and that savings then can become the basis of which you will use for your investment, So in your investing side, if at least you can do as well a 5%, the better thing would be at least a 10% of your net income can go into investing, because remember, with the investment opportunity, you are looking at things that will bring a return to you quickly. Now, with regards to saving and investing, in savings, like I said before, you have very limited or very little return that is there and is over a long period of time. When we're talking about investing, we want to add a word here, what we call multiple income streams. Multiple income streams. And while you might have a barrel that might have one major pipe that is coming in to bring in fuel, water, which will be a main income, you want to also connect now some other lines that will also be able to bring in additional income. And that's where investment goes. So if you can do 10%, and I know it may not be per month, but if you know you look at per quarter or semi-quarter and so on like that, semi-annual, sorry, you can then look at a percentage of that to create a secondary income for you. And therefore, that will put you on a much better position in terms of some measure of financial development.
What advice you would give to someone who has difficulty in saving? Someone may say, my expenses outweigh my income, or my expenses are just enough to be covered by my income. How do I really find money to save?
Well, savings is a discipline. You have to make savings become an expense on your bill. I remember many years ago when I first started in the oil field, I was working for about $1,800 for the month back in a company in Santa Flora. And I was also paying for my own tuition in school as well. And I made a conscious decision every month to put aside $200 in a credit union, and I made it an expense. So by making it part of my monthly expenses, that $200 a month, I run for about a year or two, but it became the thing that was needed when down the road I had to purchase a vehicle. The credit union at the time felt that I at least had some measure of discipline to have a small savings in place and therefore give me the basis for a loan for a vehicle. So you have to see the same way you'll pay Digicel, Wasa, B Mobile, and all the other companies that you pay expense on. You have to make savings initially to build the discipline. One of the things about human beings is that we are a creature of habit, and if you can build the habit, it actually helps you along that line. So make savings. And sometimes I tell guys, recently I was chatting with someone and they told me that they're working, for $1,000 a month. And I'm like, $1,000 a month in this day, what are you doing? And, the person came to us and wanted to know how they could save. And I was like, you want to save on a salary of $1,000? How do you do that? How do I advise somebody like that? And that was a conversation I had this week. And we started to look at what can we do to be able to put aside something to get ourselves in. So savings have to be seen as an expense, or it's not, but you have to budget it as an expense.
I'm glad you mentioned budgeting, because that would be a nice segue into my next question. I want you to talk to us a bit about the importance of budgeting and tracking our expenses.
Great question as well. A budget really serves as an estimation of expenses and income over a certain period of time. If you want to look at it at a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, or annually. And of course, we know the government runs what is called a government budget as well. And a budget allows a business owner, in this case, maybe yourself as an employee, to plan out expenses, reach business goal, and anticipate any operational change as needed to support the business. So really, a budget gives you an idea of what we call the recurring cost and recurring expenses. And if you have a picture of what that is like, you would be able, therefore, to track your expenses. Now, sometimes too, as well, if you can track your expenses, you can also see what I call the leaks, or what are the things that are actually capturing more finances out of you. And you can make adjustments to reduce, each and every one of us have, we talk a lot on our mobile devices, and there is a cost there. And now we have options where you can make WhatsApp calls and so on like that. That might reduce some costs. So what can you do then to not only track the expenses but even reduce the expenses so that you would be able to better manage cost pricing and cost in particular? Really and truly, the heart of a budget and managing or tracking expenses is really to control and get a handle on cost.
Should there be any particular focus? So, for example, should we focus more on increasing our income or should we focus more on reducing expenses?
It's a combination of both. The way of increasing your income. I mean, if you're working in a job, you really can't do anything except if they give bonuses or increase. So the alternative way is to run parallel incomes, and again, that's what investing is. In the countryside that I grew up, persons who would be teachers might have a garden. Some people have their taxis on the road. They'll have secondary means of income to be able to look at what it can do. So you've got to increase income using multiple streams that is there. I think we are in a generation where inflation is on the rise constantly, and if you don't have multiple streams of income, it can be very difficult to be able to manage the cost. But of course, yes, running parallel with that too, as well as how do I control cost? What can I eliminate? you know what can I reduce in terms of what's going on. I had a call recently from one of the cable company saying that they had a brand new package out that had all of these sports channel and additional this and additional that, and it was going to be free for I think 1 month or 2 months or so, and then this cost is going to kick in. And then I had to tell him, I says, but the current package works great for me. And based on my time factor, I really don't have much time to sit before the television in the first place. So even if you have an enhanced package, I did not see that additional feature, that additional cost to be part of my current lifestyle. So therefore, I did not go after the new one and felt that the basic would have been quite sufficient to be able to do what's going on. So you need to look at cost and where you can trim as you try to grow income as well.
Talk to us a bit about the different investment vehicles that are available to persons who may be looking for places to invest their money.
Well, investment opportunities can be, if I were to bring it down to the most basic outside of financial institutions, a person can, let's say if you're going to work in Port of Spain and you're living south, instead of having a private vehicle, the opportunity is there to even convert that into a taxi. And then when you're going up, you could even use that as a means of an income. So we can go from simple things as that. Um, for many years, I actually had a suitcase even in the back of my vehicle, and I used to sell just do basic sales of what I call consumable products. I remember even selling things as toothpaste and so on like that too as well. And in terms of while I'm on the move and doing something, I just have a small sale that's going on the side. So I invest in something that I can sell regularly. Within a financial institution, there are a number of growth funds that can be utilized. Rather, you're looking at the banking sector, the credit unions, even the insurance companies, and so on. They do have different financial opportunities that person can invest in. While we need to be cautious of, some financial opportunities that might be promoted that may not yield what it claims to yield. And of course, you do your due diligence to verify those claims. You can look at opportunities that would be able to give you quick return, or what we call velocity return, because you want to look at something that will give you a pretty good return at the fastest time. All right. And, some companies have stocks and bonds, they have mutual funds. Some people get into Forex. Now people are getting into cryptocurrency and so on like that. Even recently, we had central bank coming out on one of the Sunday dailies and indicating, that they will not hinder persons that will be looking into these types of investment opportunities. So you do have, in particularly the year 2022, what we are in now, you do have quite a number of opportunities that are there for financial investments.
Now, going back to the financial plan, I want you
Mm-hmm.
to tell us what are some of the obstacles to having an effective financial plan?
The human element is always a major factor. Um, in a long-term activity, as well as what is extended for many years and even across decades, many people have tried, to stick to a budget and stick to a financial plan. And of course, we all run into some challenges. Even sometimes the government, when you hear them review their budget, you hear sometimes they end up in a deficit, and somebody even plan with a deficit as well. But what are some of the challenges? Unexpected loss of income. A lot of persons will have experienced that quite recently, a couple of years ago in the oil sector. We just had a major bank in Trinidad sending home 150 employees, in just the other unexpected loss of income. Mismanagement of income and expenses, what we call a lot of time impulsive buying. I think we all sometimes are guilty about that. Unexpected financial burden. Your vehicle break down, you need to get a replacement one, you get into an accident. We all get into different types of investment, whether it be stock, bond, mutual funds, forex, and so on. And sometimes they underperform in terms of the investment. For example, both the credit union and even unit trusts, those are shares. It's not like a fixed deposit savings, it's shares. And therefore, you depend on the market conditions and the yield of the share. And if those shares had, much lower returns than expected, then you will have had underperformance. That is, and I'll end with this final one, going back again to the human element, our behavior. We have a culture, that we are very celebrational type people. We like to celebrate, and we like to. There are a lot of entertainment, driven nation, and therefore sometimes that also erodes our financial plan. All right. So these five elements is what I will highlight that can be obstacles to our financial plan, gentlemen.
Yeah, I like how you highlighted the part about entertainment at the end because that can creep in so easily. You know, that could creep in so easily, and as you said, erode. So I really like that.
Keep it a bit now on effective financial planning, right? So Colin would have asked about the obstacles. So I want to know a bit about the role in which insurance plays in effective financial planning.
Well, first of all, there are quite a number of insurance companies that are available to the public in Trinidad. And because of that, you have each one of them will have different packages that they can make available to individuals. Um, from a simple thing as a motor coverage or building coverage, really and truly, insurance provide, if I were to put it under one umbrella, financial protection. The idea is that you have a pool of people that will put fund into a pool, and if any one or percentage of those members were to be affected from the pool, you will be able to at least sustain those individuals. So financial protection then can be for a building, can be for your motor vehicle, and of course can be for your life. A lot of insurance companies, because we may not have the best health facilities in our country, critical illness becomes a very important factor too as well. And you realize over the last 2.5 years that you don't have to be old to die. I know we always knew that, but I think that reality has weakened us up quite significantly. And therefore, even a lot of young persons had actually passed away. So having some sort of life protection, life policy, particularly if you're married, you have family and so on like that, you have a coverage there for death, and in the case of death, and even for your own life in terms of being in a critical illness and unable to work. Even on going alongside that is the importance of major medical, because sometimes you end up with, and again, because of our lifestyle, because of our behavior, and because of the type of things we do consume, Trinidad, we eat a lot of oil-based foods. rather it be from Doubles to KFC, and sometimes the type of lifestyle that we do have, it do put pressure on your biology, and therefore you can have kidney failures, with issues with your heart. Of course, high blood pressure is a big thing. We still have quite a challenge with obesity, and putting in a major medical policy can be able to help you. All right. So that will be something that is there. Also, the financial insurance companies, they offer a lot of health plan even for small companies that they can offer to their employees as well. And those families can also have protection, both small companies and big companies, from simple things as, going to the doctor, dental, vision. All of these things are offered in insurance companies, and different insurance will have different packages based on the licenses that they have from central bank. That is it. But really and truly, we're talking of financial protection. All right. And it's interesting. People will, well, by law, yes, you have to have insurance for your vehicle. But because there is no law for insurance on their life, they really don't have any. I'll close with this one testimonial. There's a businessman not too far from where I'm at. He has a tire shop. It's about 48 years. And I remember he was visited by an insurance company, prominent insurance company, to at least, put some sort of financial protection in his place for him and his family. And he refused. He says, he don't see the need for insurance and so on like that. And here comes, about a year ago, he got the virus, and he went to the hospital, and he recovered from it, and he came back home, and then 3 weeks later he died. And this was about 3 or 4 months after the insurance company had come and chat with him. And not that he couldn't afford it, he could have more than afford at least some sort of policy in place. And he left back not only his business, but he left his family and children without any sort of remuneration that is there in terms of that. So, it is something that is necessary. It is something that's valuable. And it can work really great if it is that you have some sort of protection. We have been privy to have a number of persons, unfortunately, who died from the COVID, and we were able to pay those those benefits to the family, and to be able to at least give them some sort of financial assistance. It's not there. It's no way could replace the individual, but at least that individual would have put something in place to be able to help the family. And from that life policy, you can now put in even other investments, and those investments can yield an income that can work as a replacement salary for the family. And I remember we did that quite well for a couple of persons directly. Gentlemen?
I would just like you to indicate to us how persons may be able to contact you if they are desirous of learning more about this topic and the services that you offer.
Okay, great. So if you're interested in making contact with me, you can just send me a call or a WhatsApp, a text or a WhatsApp at 683-9883. That number again is 683-9883, and just ask for Mr. Shadrack, and we would be able to at least offer you, both what we do. It's sometimes you just need some sort of financial advice. Maybe you're starting a business. I've had persons who come to us sometimes, and they want to get something, and the business even isn't registered. Or maybe you recently registered a business and you want to have, we offer even commercial loans, sometimes personal loans, residential loans, savings plans. Of course, we can start savings plans for you as low as $1,000 TT. And there's no commitment as to how much you may need to put in per month. It's up to you, but you can start something that is there. And there are other business opportunities that we can also offer, and I can direct you to, that would be able to bring some sort of assistance, including the value of life policy and health plans and so on like that. So that number again is 683-9883. You can send that request to us, and we will more than be willing to thank each for making contact with us. Even if we may not be able to help you directly, we should be able to at least point you in the right direction where someone would be able to help you. I want to thank you gentlemen, Mr. Colin and Mr. Leonardo, for the opportunity of coming on your program and sharing on this podcast. And there is still a lot of great financial opportunities in our country, and our country continues to be a great business hub to the Caribbean and the Americas. And there's still a lot of opportunities that are there. Lots of people just want to depend on just what the government can do. And while they do have a role to play, you also and we also have a role to play in terms of seeking out. So if you got some funds lying around and you're looking for a place to put some investments in, yes, we can guide that thing. Finally, I want to say this, which I said before: you cannot save your way to wealth. You cannot save your way to wealth because the interest rates are just so low. You have to invest your way to wealth, right? You invest your way to wealth. I am not saying you don't need to have some savings. You need to have some in case you need to fall back on it. But once you have something above that, you really need to get into investment opportunities that would be able to go into. Look at all of the guys who are into business, whether you have a trucking company, a taxi company, you're supplying transport for someone. It's all built on investments. Investment is what's going to give you. Look for the multiple income streams. Gentlemen, thank you again for the opportunity, and we hope to get some positive feedback from your audience. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Shadrack, I would just like to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of knowledge. And we look forward to having you on again, where we could always continue this discussion. So this has brought us to the end of another episode of the Legal Corner podcast series. Remember to check us out on social media. We are also on Patreon if you are interested in supporting our work. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Legal Corner podcast series. For more information, please visit us at our Facebook or Instagram pages or send your comments to thelegalcornerpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.